Welcome guys, we're going over the newly acquired Neo Vision Tifa today. All of you guys out there have her. She's out there for free and she is one of, if not the best characters available in the game right now. So there's a lot of questions going about how should I build my Tifa? What is she useful for? What should I do with her? We're tackling all of that stuff for you guys today. Thank you guys for coming here and spending that time here today. We're giving example builds, strategies, everything under the sun for this character. And let's get into it for you guys. So Tifa here is a very unique character. She can be a chainer, she can be a chain finisher, she can be a burst damage dealer, and she also can be extremely tanky all at the same time. She has a lot of different brave abilities that you guys should be utilizing in your endeavors to use this character. She does have a base form, and then she has a brave shift form, obviously, once you get her to EX+1, which you guys have access to for free. If you haven't been able to do that, make sure you go and check out the previous videos that I've done. If you have any questions on Neo Vision survival guides that was uploaded just the other day, as well as the event guides and how to maintain and maximize everything from the current events out there in Brave Exvius. So in her base form, she has a couple of brave abilities for you to unlock. She has Meteor Crusher, which is her Stardust Ray chaining frame family skill. She has Hot Fever, and she has Promise with Cloud. Now, her biggest use, guys, I know I said biggest a lot, is actually going to be her Brave Shift form. We'll get into that in a hot minute, but her biggest damage dealing skill in her non-Brave Shift form is going to be Meteor Crusher. Once you max this out, it's going to go up to a 72, 76 times multiplier here. It is pretty powerful. It is pretty amazing. But that being said, a lot of you guys out there are not going to be using this skill when it comes to maximizing her in a very specific way. However, if you want to use her as a chainer, make sure you max out Meteor Crusher. It is going to be her best skill for you there. Hot Fever is another buff that she gets access to, another one that you might want to overlook because it's not her Brave Shift form skill, but it gives you up to a 250% attack buff, as well as carrying status ailments and enfeeblements on herself and giving her a little bit of MP increase there. Now, if you're enhancing any sort of Brave Shift brave ability skill on her base form here, it's going to be Promise with Cloud. This gives her a base HP bonus of 3,000, making her a little bit tankier, and increases the damage of some of her abilities. The abilities that are getting the damage increase are going to be her older skills, though, and they're not going to really keep up with Meteor Crusher, although Promise with Cloud making her tankier is going to be useful for you guys if you're going to go after the certain strategy you'll find in this video here, and it's my favorite way of utilizing her. Now, her Brave Shift form is where all of her damage is coming from, and this is from her insanely hard-hitting Limit Burst, the True Final Heaven. It's an 80 times mod that ignores 50% defense, so that basically means it's a 160 times multiplier. Currently, it is the highest mod Limit Burst in the game, and she makes this even harder hitting with her Brave Shift, Brave ability skills here. So let's talk about these. These are the most important things that you should be going over here. Now, we have Meteor Crusher still here, but that's not what you're using in the Brave Shift form. Now, we have Concentration, absolutely fantastic skill here, as well as the Lessons for Life on the Ground. Both of these you're going to want to max out here. Concentration is going to be a 300% attack buff for 4 turns, as well as a 100% water imbue on yourself for 4 turns there, and it's going to fill your LB gauge by 15 crystals for you. So that's going to be a very fantastic way of going about things, because you're going to use this in conjunction with some of her other skills. It's going to fill up the vast majority of your limit burst gauge, so you can limit burst the following turn. It's going to give you the water imbue and then an attack buff. Now, the other skill that you're going to be using here is Awakened Fighting Spirit. Boost your limit burst damage by 250% for 3 turns to the caster, and it's going to do a 120% water imperil. So you have the ability to, you know, combine these two skills. You get water imbue, water imperil, 300% attack buff, 250% limit burst damage. You see where we're going with here? Very fantastic. Now, if you don't have someone to do a defense break for you, she does have an 80% defense break as well, but my favorite skill to use when setting up with her is the Zangan style defensive stance. We're going to abuse this skill as well as with the ability that we have now in Brave Exvius to equip 2 different sets of gear to characters to make her a very safe, very high damage dealing character. She's going to be nigh unkillable in your party, and it's going to be a fantastic thing. So Zangan style defense here, 75% damage mitigation. She does have that permanent triple cast, right, with triple limit. So you can cast Concentration, Awakening Fighting Spirit, and Zangan style defensive stance all in the same turn. It's going to give her all of her offensive buffs that she wants, as well as a 75% general mitigation, which is going to keep her alive in conjunction with, you know, elemental resistance buffs, your tank out there covering, HP barriers, things of that nature. She's going to be very, 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 very hard to actually take down because of all of these buffs that she kind of gives herself. And then the turn after that, you're going to be using her incredibly powerful limit burst, the True Final Heaven. Very easy to chain finish, very quick, very fast. Hits one time, so very easy to get in there, build a chain up with someone in your party, whether it's supports or some other damage dealers, whatever it is that you have access to, and chain finish with the True Final Heaven and absolutely blow monsters away. It's very strong, it's very satisfying, and it's very fun. Now let's get into some builds here for you guys with Tifa. The first one we're going to go over, we're doing both non-Super Trust Master reward and Super Trust Master all-out builds, so you have the ability to go ahead and take a look at what you can do with your girl here. The first one to be looking at is a non-Super Trust Master outside of her own, because you have to have her Super Trust Master and they give it to you for free as you get in here. Offensive non-Brave Shifted version of Tifa. So we're gonna have Premium Heart, which is her Super Trust Master reward, Tiger Fangs, which is a trial quest reward, and then some TMRs here: Ice Demon's Crown, Scarlet Moon, Seraph Combs. Basically her normal form here, we're just trying to maximize in this specific build, which you guys might not use once we get into the super builds. Max attack sort of builds max killers in this situation here. So we're just getting as much attack as we can. Vengeful Blow for the card if you have access to that, or even Cloud's card, things of that nature. This build, it might be useful, but the way I like to use Tifa is going to be represented in the following build, because this one's just kind of whatever. She's not really in your party to do damage in her normal form. Maybe if you're farming content, you'll use her with an attack build in her non-Brave Shift form, just to eat out some monsters real fast with the her Stardust Ray Chaining skill and get over and not have to Brave Shift over and over and over. But here's how I like to use her, and it's a fantastic way to do so. I love it a ton. Non-Brave Shift, non-Super Trust Master reward build in her normal form here. This is going to be a survival build here. So we're aiming for, you know, high survivability, high HP, high spirit, things of that nature. And this build also has 100% dodge. You can make this build better with obviously better gear, which will show up in the build after this one, but this is going to be 100% dodge, as well as she basically is going to be a little bit harder to take down. This helps you survive preemptive attacks, things of that nature. So we have just whatever gear you have, you know, Ring of Lucii for dodge, things for spirit, things of that nature. High HP, 23,000 HP. This is going to be your Tifa here, and what we're going to be doing though is we're going to be going for the moon here, and you can see how crazy you can make her with some Super Trust Master rewards, and how crazy tanky she can get in the long run. So this is going to be like, I'm trying to answer everything the build here. There's going to be a different build as well. As you can see, I was maybe you got a peek at it right in the previous section, but this is going to be Tifa EX +3 normal form. We're going to be using Crimson Butterfly, Lox Dagger, Iago, Grand Reverie, Knight's Medal, Safety Bit, Judge's Oath, Dodge Roll, Lucas Valentine Recipe, Winged Heart, and then we have access to Diablos here as well. This is actually the build I'm using right now in the arena, because it's very, 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 very annoying. You're going to have 100% dodge, 100% resistance to every element except for Earth in this build. You can change some things up because we're using Grand Reverie for stop resistance. We have Winged Heart for 50% charm resistance. We have death resistance. You're going to load into a fight this way. And for the 9 times out of anything that's not an Earth damage fight, which you can change, right? You can change Grand Reverie and Safety Bit to Earth resist. You're gonna be like unkillable when you're in this form. You're gonna be basically unkillable. Almost 1,000 spirit, resistance to everything, status immunity to everything that's not named charm, 50% to charm still though. Very, very crazy build here is what you can do here. And I think you might even be able to get that charm resist up to 100% if you actually go ahead and utilize, I think it's Serena's TMR from Dragon Quest 11 gives another 50%, and that should stack with the Winged Heart. So if you want to trade off that stop resist for charm resist in certain fights, that's a thing that you can do as well. As you can see, she doesn't do any damage in this build though, and that is why the EX +1 is so relevant, because it gives you her burst form like we talked about. That's where all of her damage comes from. So let's go check out some of her EX +1 burst form damage dealing builds here, and this is going to be a non-Super Trust Master reward build. So We do have Premium Heart because she has her own Super Trust Master Award. Like we talked about, you're guaranteed to have it. That's how you get her Neo Vision. So you have Premium Heart, Tiger Fang still, Ice Demon Crown, Scarlet Moon, Storm Kickers, Hermes Sandals, Courage to Move On, War Goddesses Insignia Plus, Heart Overcoming Hatred, and the Mightiest. So what are we trying to accomplish in this build here? We're building against humans in this build. So I have Diablo. She's very easy to build against humans, but we're trying to maximize our attack percent, our true dual percent, our limit burst damage percent, and our killer percent here. Very easy to do against humans for Tifa as well as against Aquan monsters. The Hermes Sandals is going to give us our last 50% true dual. I know it took a big breath. We're trying to cover a lot, but Courage to Move On, attack percent, limit burst damage percent. War Goddess Insignia Plus, attack percent, limit burst damage percent. Heart Overcoming Hatred, limit burst damage percent. Things of that nature. That's what we're looking to accomplish here with this build. Now you're noticing that the vision card here is missing. That's because at the time of recording of this video, the tool that we use, which is a great tool by AlertGuard over there at FFBEquipped.com, the burst form doesn't have access to equipping vision cards right now. So she's actually going to have even more attack than this if you have one of those attack cards on here. The Vengeful Blow or the Cloud card on it has 45 to 100 attack, which is going to be multiplied by your true dual wield percent. So you're missing up to 300 attack on this build. Very fantastic way to set up. This is going to do large amounts of damage to your foes there. Now, the maximum build for this, the Super Trust Master Award, everything encompassed in a lot of ways here. This build's going to be a little bit weird because Tifa's weapon selection isn't the craziest, right? She has like maces and hammers and staves and just weird stuff, swords in this build because we give her equipped sword. So sometimes you're going to give her equipped sword, sometimes you'll give her equipped great sword, sometimes you won't do that at all. But in this build specifically, it's very easy to build her equipped sword due to the advantage of equipping limit burst damage weapons. A lot of players out there did do this with Zendaya, and rightfully so, because this is a very nice way of building up your damage on your limit burst damage characters. Sometimes you'll do equipped greatsword though, because there's a lot of event greatswords out there, trial greatswords that have type killers for different enemy types out there. Sometimes you won't do either of them though, because you just need a bunch of really rare killer depending on what kind of gear you have. You're gonna default back to just equipping fist weapons and things of that nature. But in this build here, we have equipped sword. This allows us to equip the Supreme Sword of Lights. If you saw the good old FF7 remake Cloud video on the just today, you saw this one here as well. This is gonna give us 50% limit burst damage. And not only that, it's going to give us some weapon variance bonus that most other weapon types, actually any other weapon type, any other single-handed weapon type doesn't have. This gives us 5 to 10%, 10% maximum, 5% on average bonus damage, which is going to be super awesome on top of that. And then we have the Ultimate Blade, any sort of 50% LB damage weapon here you could use. We're using Ultimate Blade in this circumstance. Red Hellebore for high attack, Lion Armor for the 50% limit burst damage here, upgrade package for that final 50% true dual wield, as well as the 40% attack here. Limited Moon, whatever your highest attack, flat attack accessory is here. Equipped sword, obviously, we talked about that. Supreme Sentinel / weapon specialist, whatever gives you attack percent plus Man Eater is amazing. And then we have a Lion's Heart for limit burst damage, and then Soaring Heart actually does make an appearance here. This is because we don't have Premium Heart equipped, and her trust ability here in her Brave Shifted form is very important because it gives us 100% limit burst damage here. So Soaring Heart, basically, even though it's only giving us 30% attack, right, because it's 30% attack for a hat, 30% attack for a fist weapon. Normally, we don't have a fist weapon on, so we only have that 30% attack from the hat, which is pretty bad, but we're activating her trust ability here with Soaring Heart, which is giving us 100% LB damage. Very fantastic way to build her with her self-attack buff, 4,526 attack. And like before, no vision cards are able to be put on this build quite yet due to the builder, being worked on and being upgraded for you guys. Fantastic tool here. But we're missing up to 300 attack here in this build. So, 4,800 attack in combat. That's a lot of attack. That's quite a lot of attack. Get that 250% LB damage buff, all of that good stuff. She's going to one-punch woman a bunch of stuff here. I have to record some in-combat stuff. We'll be doing a one-punch woman Tifa thing so you guys can see it in action. But I wanted to to show you guys the builds and things of that nature, get you guys on a starting path, to get you guys, you know, in the mindset as with all of our build guides of what it is you're aiming for with the character, how you're trying to use them, things of that nature. It's a very fantastic thing. And then there's some other stuff that you can do with Tifa as well. So I want to show you guys this in combat. So we're going to go down and just go to the FF7 Remake Cloud. It costs us 1 energy, very cheap, to get in here with Tifa. And we're just going to take whoever. We'll take whoever in here. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to show the couple of things that you can do with Tifa. Now, Tifa's very strong, especially if you're using her with that very tanky build, because she's like a, you know, she's like a nuclear launch detected button. You don't have to do damage with her. And these are sort of my favorite kind of characters. You don't need to do damage with her until you're ready to do damage with her. So if you build her that tanky style, where she's, you know, immune to pretty much every status element, immune to all element resist, you can get to that thing, 100% evasion, all of that insane stuff. You can have her just kind of freely sit in this form until you're ready to do something. So that's +1. That's number one cool thing to do there. But she also got ninja'd in her series bonus boss battle ability, which I didn't even know until like the day after the patch came in, and that is Wave Spike. So Wave Spike is a new ability for her, and it's damaging one enemy and boosts water damage of limit burst, abilities, and magic for the caster. So this is going to give you a special buff that increases water damage, so you can actually delay your burst by a couple of turns here. So there's 2 options here when you're ready to go from the get-go. Turn 1, you can go in Brave Shift. You can Brave Shift immediately, get that nice little animation going in, and you'll have what we talked about earlier. You'll have triple cast, you'll have concentration, you'll have awakened fighting spirit, and then you can Zangan this style defensive stance. This is what you're going to do 99% of the time, because you want that damage mitigation, because it lasts for 2 turns. So it's going to last this turn, and it's going to last when you LB, and you'll be good to go there. If you don't have a breaker, though, you can go in and use crashing waves, but a lot of time you're going to be doing concentration, awakened fighting spirit, and Zangan style defensive stance. However, if you want even higher burst, because a lot of the fights out there, there's no time limit. You can kind of take however much time you want. But if you want that extra burst on your limit burst, you're actually going to wait a turn. You're going to go into your normal form, and you can kind of do whatever it is that you want to do. You can triple limit here. You can Wave Spike, okay, because it's going to give you that 10% bonus damage. It's going to last for a couple of turns, which is going to allow you to set up and do good things. And then remember how her Brave Shift skill gives her 15 out of 20 limit burst crystals. If you don't have any limit burst gear that gives you crystals over time, there might be a small chance that you won't be able to utilize her limit burst. So what you can do is you can Wave Spike, and then you can actually use Meteor Strike a couple of times turn 1, and this is going to give you the ability to go right. Don't kill the cactus. Anyway, it'll give you some limit burst crystals here, so it's going to help you fill up your limit burst gauge. And I shouldn't have attacked. But what you will do afterwards, you'll get that 10% bonus damage ready to go. You get your limit burst crystals filled up a little bit. You're still going to be extremely safe because you're in that tanky Tifa build still. A lot of element resist, dodge, things of that nature. So no one can really touch you there. So we're going to head back in. And then what you do after that is you set up. So you're going to have all of those buffs. You're going to have your limit burst crystals ready to roll. Pretend we did that last time, right? We used our triple limit Wave Spike, double Meteor Strike, right? Fill your limit burst gauge up. And then turn 2, you're going to Brave Shift in. You're going to still have your buffs. Brave Shifting doesn't take away your buffs or anything. You're going to triple limit, and then you're going to set up for real now. So you're going to Awaken Fighting Spirit, and you're going to got the bug there. And you're going to Zagan style defensive stance here. So you're going to have the 250%, excuse me. I love Neo Vision. It's so exciting for some reason. 250% limit burst damage buff, Water and Peril, 3% attack buff, Water Imbue, Zangan style defensive stance here as well for that 75% damage mitigation. And you're going to be ready to roll, ready to rumble. The following turn, it'll be turn 3 in this circumstance. You're going to have everything ready to go. You're ready to fire off that tactical nuke, and if you built your character right, you have the attack percent, you have true dual wield ready, you have the balance of limit burst damage gear as well as killers, and I said this in the cloud video as well. But if you're working on your characters, you do not want to go all in on limit burst damage or all in on killers unless you can maximize both of them. It's sort of like a seesaw effect there. As you get more of one, the other one becomes better. So if you have 300% limit burst damage and 0 killer, that is far worse than having 150% limit burst damage in gear and 150% killer. You want to kind of equalize them until you get better and better and better gear, and you can maximize both of them out nearly at the same time here. But then you're just going to punch the boss right in the face, and that Cactar I don't even know why he slowly dissipated. He should have immediately, One Punch Man style, just evaporated into a million atoms and whatever it is. He just should have just dissipated. He should have just been gone. He should have been gone a long time ago. So hopefully this stuff has been interesting for you guys here. I typically do not get to do not banner reviews, but character in-depth guides in-game because I don't own them all. And this has been pretty cool to be able to do that for you guys. So hopefully being able to show off a couple of things there for you guys in-game has been a cool little feature for you. So thank you guys so much for coming and spending that time here. Thank you guys for the support on the channel via Patreon as well as the YouTube channel membership system. You guys are a blessing. Hopefully this helped you out a ton. Until then, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.